Good afternoon. I'm Governor of North Carolina, Pat McCrory. We just had a very beneficial meeting and productive meeting with our congressional delegations and also members of FEMA, our FEMA leaders, and also members of our state legislature to talk about what we've done regarding Hurricane Matthew and also our next steps forward. I'm very honored to have with us Senator Richard Burr, and of course his wife Brooke is here. Very good to see you, Brooke. Happy birthday. Senator Thom Tillis, Representative Renee Elmers, Representative David Price, Representative David Rouser, and Representative Richard Hudson. And Representative Elma Adams was also on the conference call, and again, it was very good conversation among all the intergovernmental agencies regarding the next step. We also have the North Carolina General Assembly, Speaker Tim Moore, Senator Dan Blue, Senator Lewis Pate, and Representative Garland Pierce, who have all been extremely active and productive in trying to help their constituents and citizens during this very, very difficult time. I also would like to welcome members of my cabinet, Secretary of Public Safety Frank Perry, also my Management Director, Mike Sprayberry, DEQ Secretary Don Vandervaart, Nick Tennyson, Secretary of Transportation, Secretary of Health and Human Services Rick Brazier, and also Colonel Bill Gray, and also Andrew Heath, my Budget Director. During this meeting, just to let me give you an update of what we did during this meeting is Mike Sprayberry, our director, and Frank Perry gave an update on exactly the actions we've taken up to this point in time, talked about the severity of the storm, which was basically a 1,000-year storm for the state of North Carolina, spread out over a wide area of our state. We also got a wonderful update, a very good update from our FEMA coordinating officer, Elizabeth Turner. We've got a great working relationship with her, and we appreciate her leadership in this area. We also had my budget director, Andrew Heath, give an update on how much we have in reserves. We talked about the schedule of asking for federal funding assistance. Representative Price and the two senators helped us a great deal in that conversation, look at the schedule. Very quickly, some of the major issues we talked about were some of the housings, and we got some good feedback. Tomorrow, FEMA is going to be meeting with some people in the mobile home industry to see if we can have mobile homes assist those immediately to get out of some of our shelters. The ag community is a major issue for us, both commercial fishermen and also those in the poultry business and of course the peanut and sweet potato farmers and cotton farmers who have been impacted by not only this hurricane but flooding beforehand. We also have some major issues regarding infrastructure, especially our roads and rail that have been impacted by this storm. We also talked about some of the environmental cleanup issues that we're going to have through DEQ and how we're working there. And just some human issues regarding food stamp waivers. And I found out today in my visit to Princeville and talking to the mayor there that we're not getting food stamp waivers in that area because they don't meet the federal guidelines, and we're trying to get that reversed as soon as possible. And we'll find out that information today. If we don't get approval from the feds today, I'm going to turn right to my great federal representatives and try to get that going. So with that, again, I cannot tell you, this has been a team effort. And I'm very proud of the great cooperation that we've had from the federal government and from my state legislature. It has meant a lot. And to first say a few words from the federal representatives, I'd like to ask Senator Richard Burr, our senior member of our senior senator, and then Thom Tillis to say a few words, and then I'll recognize David Price and a few others to come up. Senator, thank you very much for your work. Appreciate it.
Governor, thank you. More importantly, thank you for bringing this group together so that we could hear firsthand from your team and from the federal partners that we have. I think it's safe to say that North Carolina has been dealt a significant disaster, but not one that we can't overcome. And what we've seen up to this point is almost a well-choreographed play between state and federal and local authorities to address the human needs that exist in all of these counties. And the one thing that I want to stress to the public is the unbelievable attention that all of the different pieces are playing to the human aspects of this disaster. That at the end of the day, we realize this is about individuals who have been dislocated from their house, dislocated from their business, dislocated from their schools, and that there is a coordinated effort to get them back to where they can begin to rebuild their lives, but that this will be a long process for many.
Thank you very much. Senator Tillis.
Well, thank you, Governor. I want to thank you for your leadership in responding to the disaster, and particularly want to thank the National Guard, the Highway Patrol, and all the first responders. The stories that you hear when you're out there reviewing and speaking with those who were affected by it are really heartwarming to know we've got such great leaders in our public safety realm. I, for one, also want to thank Congressman Price. We're working together on a bipartisan basis to make sure, to the extent the federal government needs to step up to provide the funding, we'll be there for you. We're going to continue to work with the state agencies to knock down any blocks or gaps in communications, anything that we can do to help continue what is already a great response on the part of FEMA and other federal agencies with state agencies. We want to keep that going, do everything we can. Remember that these victims need our help, and we're here for the long haul. This is not something that's going to be done over a couple of weeks. In many cases, this will be several years before these communities will heal, and we'll be there for them. Thank you, Governor.
Representative Elmers.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Governor, for this very important meeting. We have become informed of where things are at this point, and I would just like to say that this is an effort that is incredible, and for the public in North Carolina to understand that all of the different agencies, from first responders to our National Guard, to FEMA, to our emergency management and public service, are working hard for you. And I would just encourage everyone out there, especially if you're in my district, call my office. If you're in one of the other districts, call the congressional districts for help. And if you have a neighbor that you know is in need, I know how North Carolinians are. Everybody thinks they can do it on their own. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us so that we can direct you in the area for aid. And again, I just want to thank the folks who are working on this for not just simply checking the boxes, but understanding that these are people's and these are families' lives that are being affected. And we at the federal level are going to do everything that we can when we head back to Washington to make sure that the appropriations process works so that we can get the essential funding for North Carolina. And thank you, and God bless.
David, if you don't mind, Richard Hudson, both of you, if you'd come up.
Well, first, I want to thank the governor for his tremendous leadership, and that of his entire team, particularly the emergency personnel. It's just absolutely unbelievable, the number of hours and the great work that they have done. These guys have worked round the clock, and they should really be thanked at every possible occasion. As mentioned before, whenever it floods, it's a disaster. There's absolutely no question about that, and it's going to take a strong concerted effort at the federal level, working with the state government and our local officials to see this long-term recovery through. Every citizen of North Carolina, I think, should be very proud of the work that's being done in coordination at all levels of government to help address this crisis and address this recovery the way that we need to. And so with that, Governor, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
Hudson, thank you very much.
Thank you, and I'd first like to thank the governor for his strong leadership. It's truly been an inspiration these past few weeks to watch the governor pull all North Carolinians together and really lead in this awful time for our state. I'd also like to thank Ms. Turner from FEMA for the tremendous job she and her team have done here to work with us. One of the things is I've made multiple visits to multiple counties in my district and surrounding. The thing I keep hearing over and over is the need for more housing, and that's something we discussed today. We need short-term housing, we need intermediate-term housing. We've got people who are in shelters, but we've got a whole lot of more people who have not gone to shelters. They've gone to friends and neighbors, they've left the state. We want those folks to be able to return home, and so we're going to continue to work on that issue. And the last thing I would say to anyone who hears me today, it's very important that you register. If you've had loss of your home and property, that you need to register with FEMA. If you are in agriculture and you've had crop loss, you need to register with the FSA as soon as possible. There are going to be deadlines. Some of those will be retroactive deadlines. We need you to register today so that we can get you in the system, also so that we can assess the total damage so that we, your representatives, can go to work to try to find these resources we need. Thank you again, Governor, for your leadership.
And not lot to say last, but I want to thank the Speaker of the House and members of our House and Senate that are here today, but I'm going to have Speaker Moore speak on behalf of them, and if anyone else wants to add any comments, I appreciate your teamwork. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. Garland, Lewis, if y'all want to step up here with me. Governor, first of all, thank you for your leadership in this. Had an opportunity to go down and actually see the damage firsthand, and actually saw this guy working and helping at a shelter there in Robinson County when we did it. He wasn't wearing a suit then. He had a T-shirt and shorts on, I think, out helping. But he was actually out there helping folks. Representative Pierce was. It has been a tragedy in so many ways, but it's also been great to see the human spirit, to see folks coming out, neighbors helping neighbors. And Governor, I know you've seen that as well throughout the state. Simply want to say that from the General Assembly standpoint, we are fortunate we have a rainy day fund of roughly $1.7 billion. There is the money there to cover the needs that will have to be met by the state government. So we certainly appreciate our federal partners, and where we need to, the state's going to be willing to step up, and I can assure you that will be done in a very bipartisan way. And I also want to join in thanking the first responders, law enforcement personnel, National Guard, for the tremendous work you all have done in helping folks cope with this crisis. Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you all very much. In conclusion, just thanks to everyone. We do not really know yet the full financial impact on the state of North Carolina. Not only are we talking about the revenue that we're going to have to spend to help recover from this, but also the potential revenue losses that we have due to people being out of work, the lack of sales, businesses being closed down. We're not going to feel that impact for months, and we're going to have to do a total evaluation of the real impact on our budget. The federal government's going to have to go through the same issue. Not only is North Carolina impacted by this, but Louisiana recently had floods. We've got West Virginia issues. Nikki Haley in South Carolina is dealing with some issues. So we've got some major funding issues that we're going to have resolved, and revenue issues. But North Carolina is resilient. We're strong. The people are fantastic. Our prayers are still with the families, the 27 families that were tragically impacted through their losses. And we're just glad there weren't any more, and we're proud of the heroes that saved many lives. Over 1,000 rescues in North Carolina, and that's just fantastic from our troopers, our highway patrol, and all the first responders. God bless you. We love you, and we thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you, Frank.